The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days straight, washing the dust off the highway and leaving behind the kind of silence only a storm can. The Iron Brotherhood, a rough-looking group of bikers known across 3 states, were parked outside a broken-down diner off Route 17. Their leader, Big Mike, was wiping down his Harley when he saw her. She came stumbling out of the woods, barefoot, soaked, and shivering, clutching a torn backpack to her chest. Her eyes were red, terrified. When she saw the bikers, she froze like a deer caught in headlights. "Hey, you okay, miss?" Mike called out, but she didn't answer. She just stood there, shaking. Then, as if all her strength had vanished, she collapsed to her knees in the mud. Mike rushed forward, motioning for the others to hang back. When he reached her, she whispered something that made the air feel colder than the rain. "End it fast, please." Mike blinked. "What?" She looked up at him, tears cutting through the dirt on her face. "I can't take it anymore. End it. Just make it stop." The bikers exchanged uneasy glances. They'd heard all kinds of cries, anger, pain, heartbreak, but this one was different. It was hollow, final. Mike crouched beside her. "We're not here to hurt you, sweetheart." "What happened?" But she didn't answer. She just kept whispering, "End it fast." Then she began tugging at her shirt, shaking hands pulling it up to her shoulder. The men froze, confused, until they saw it. A massive purple bruise covered half her ribs, wrapping around her side. The kind of bruise you don't get from falling. The kind you get from someone who doesn't stop hitting. The bikers went silent. The sound of engines and thunder seemed to fade away. "Who did this?" Mike's voice was low, dangerous. Her eyes flicked toward the road. "He's coming. He always comes." Within minutes, the roar of a pickup truck echoed down the highway. A black Ford pulled up, headlights glaring through the rain. A man stepped out, tall, angry, holding a half-empty beer bottle. "There you are, you little..." He didn't finish. Big Mike stepped forward, flanked by 5 leather-clad bikers. "Afternoon," Mike said coldly. "That your girl?" The man sneered. "Yeah, she's my wife. Got a problem with that?" "Yeah," Mike said, cracking his knuckles. "I got a big problem with that." The air went still. Then came the sound of a Harley engine revving, deep, growling, like thunder ready to strike. The man tried to swing the bottle, but he didn't make it far. In seconds, the bikers had him disarmed, face down in the mud, his truck keys gone. Mike leaned close to his ear. "You ever touch her again, you won't be walking next time. Understand?" The man nodded, or maybe he trembled. Either way, he didn't argue. The bikers watched as he stumbled back to his truck and drove off into the rain, tail lights disappearing into the night. Then they turned back to her. She sat trembling, too weak to speak. Mike took off his leather jacket and gently wrapped it around her shoulders. "You're safe now. You hear me? You're safe." For the first time, she didn't whisper. She spoke, barely audible, but steady. "I didn't think anyone would help." Big Mike smiled softly. "You met the wrong kind of men before. You just met the right ones tonight." The bikers took her to the diner, got her a warm meal, and called a friend who worked at a local women's shelter. She didn't want to go at first, but when she saw the kind eyes of the woman waiting for her, she nodded. Before she left, she turned back to the group of bikers standing in the rain. "I thought I was asking you to end my life," she said quietly. "But you gave it back instead." Mike gave her a small salute. Sometimes, all a person needs is for someone to stand up for him. As her car disappeared down the road, the bikers stood in silence, not the kind that comes from fear or violence, but from something sacred. "End it fast," Mike muttered, shaking his head. "Guess we did, just not the way she thought." The rain stopped. A pale dawn broke over the horizon, washing the highway in gold. And for the first time in a long while, the Iron Brotherhood rode off knowing they hadn't just saved someone, they'd reminded her, and maybe themselves, that even the roughest souls can do the gentlest things. Moral: sometimes, the toughest people aren't the ones who fight, they're the ones who choose to protect. Compassion doesn't always look gentle, sometimes it wears leather and rides a Harley.